Hi, welcome to another weekly session. And today's session is about how to do customization with your model, with your TensorFlow model. So you must have seen PyTorch people doing multiple customizations, and that is quite Pythonic. So people always put forward the argument that TensorFlow is not Pythonic. PyTorch is more Pythonic. Yes, PyTorch is more Pythonic, but there's some extent and there's a greater extent. I mean, I would rather say there's a greater extent to which you can customize your Py to your TensorFlow models. You can customize your TensorFlow models to a great extent and achieve a similar behavior or functionality with the help of TensorFlow model subclassing. So what exactly it is, you'll get to know what TensorFlow model subclassing is, what TensorFlow layer subclassing is, what TensorFlow custom loss function defining is. These are the things you'll get to know by the end of the video. So make sure that you remain there till the end of the video, and do hit the subscribe button. Do visit the data science and AI website. There's a lot of changes which I have recently done. So this is the last session which I held. So weekly session 11, you have the session, you have the video over here. Topics will be listed, the website is in making. You have the code notebook at one place, you have the video notes which will be provided, and practice questions coming soon. So these two sections are, so the things are in under work. So if there's any suggestion you would like to add, please drop that in the comment section, or you can drop an mail or whatever the contact media you prefer to choose. Yeah. So let's dive in. We'll be beginning with model subclassing. What model subclassing is? So what normal was. So what you have is, let's start. Then I'll do the explanation. So this is class custom model, TF keras model. Cool. Now we have definition. We need to define two functions. First would be init, self, and let's say number of classes. Another would be forward function, which happens in PyTorch, but in TensorFlow we call it as a call, the forward propagation. Self and input vector. Now, over here, so what exactly it is, you must have seen this thing this is extremely, there's uncanny resemblance with what happens in PyTorch. You define the init, you define the forward function. In the init, you define what all the layers are, what will be, or what will be the layers we will be using in the forward propagation, and in the forward propagation, you define the order. So in init, you are not concerned with the order, but the idea is to ensure the model, to ensure the reusability with the help of init. You're defining the layers in init, you're ensuring reusability. So to ensure reusability, you're defining the layers in the init, and in the call, you're using it again and again, and or whatever you want to do. You might use it once. If you're using it once, it doesn't make any sense to use custom models. But if there's a repeated use of a layer, and there are multiple if and else conditions, like if this is the parameter, then layer value should be this. If this is the parameter, then layers value should be this. That is the best use case to use a class, this kind of model definition, model subclassing. So this is what it is. So I'll be keeping it extremely simple. Let's say I have few layers, which will be TF keras layers dot convolution 2-dimensional. I define max pooling. I can also define a max pooling. Let's say a batch normalization type 1. Convolution type 2. Max pooling 2. And in the end, a dense layer, right? So nice, a flatten and a dense layer. Flatten and a dense layer, that should suffice. Right. So this is something quite basic. I'm not here to my first and primary concern is to explain you what exactly is model subclassing. Once you are able to understand what model subclassing is, then I'll get into the better use case. So why should you not use where should you not use functional API and rather switch to model subclassing, right? One very obvious change, which is the fundamental definition of Python, is if you have one change to replicate, right? If there's one parameter that needs to be changed, you'll have to go through the entire model architecture. However, over here, if you do it once, entire changes would be replicated. This is the first and the foremost use case. So whatever use case and the benefits of object-oriented programming you have over functional programming is what you expect to have over here in comparison to the functional API. So let's start without wasting any time. Let's say convolution 2D, I have around 32 filters, kernel size 3 cross 3, and strides. Let's say strides equals to 2, activation equals relu, max fooling 2D, 2 cross 2. This one would be 64 filters, 3 cross 3, strides equal to 1, activation equals relu, 2 cross 2, flatten, dense would be num classes, activation equals softmax. So you see how simple it is. Now let's begin to do the forward pass. X would be equal to self.convolution1, my input vector. X would be equal to self.max1, my input vector. X would be equal to self.bn1, my input vector. X would be equal to self.conv2, input vector. X would be equal to self.conv max2. Doesn't really matter what. I think you have got the point what I am trying to explain. What I'm actually interested in is, you get to know what I'm actually interested in. Let's define another convolution. Report would I would return self.dense after self.flatten x. This should be it. So let's say our model is an instance of custom model type wherein my classes are 1000. Am I able to obtain model summary? No, because the model has not been built. So you can pass the input shape equals to 224, 224, 3. Still, I think the model needs compilation. Yeah. So let's compile the model. Model.compile by saying optimizer equals to RMS prop. Loss equal to categorical cross entropy Metrics equals accuracy. Are we able to obtain any summary? Model subclassing, model build. So this is what it is. Model summary can't print out outside shape while using model subclass. Yup. Okay, so what they're trying to do is defining a model in it. So this is a workaround. So in model subclassing, you won't be able to directly access the summary. So another method is define a model. In the model, what you're gonna do is define x equal to input tf keras layers dot input shape equal to 224 One is you have to, this is what is needed, build method. So we have not defined the build method. So either you can define the summary method or you define the build method, either of the two. So this is what it is, x here, then you have model equals to tf keras models, model input equal to inputs equals to x, outputs equals to self dot call x. Return model dot summary. Okay, you need to build this model dot build input shape equals none 224 3. Yep, this is our model. So this was a lot of debugging. You can figure that out. So whatever it is, so the main idea is define the model, get the call method. Then if either you do the workaround or if you don't want to do the workaround, what you can do, the better way is call the model, get the model instance. After getting the model instance, build the model using model.build, define the input shape. And so let's learn about model.build. Model build tf. So in model build, where is build? How do you build a model? Right. So this is quite interesting. Let's see model build. I think this is irrelevant. Model build take us. In this case, call just reapplies all the ops in the graph to the new inputs, build a convolution graph, this, else. So I'm not able to find exactly where build is, but this is what it is. We will discuss this, we'll keep this for our next session, right? Yeah. There's a lot of things to discuss. So this is what we did. What we did is, it defined like this, okay? So let's add another parameter. So let's see verbose equals to true. This is an extremely baseless and bogus parameter which adding or not adding doesn't make any sense. Let's say if verbose equal to true, bn equal to true. If bn cool. If verbose print patch normalization layer added. Although this is a limited use case, better use case would have been if bn then do this. If not, else you can define a self.dropout layer or anything. So this is a better use case. And if over here you can do like if this bn, then do this, else this would be the path. So this is a better and easy to manage. So you need not to worry much about the call function. All you would be caring and worried about is init. Once you are done with the init and the layer definition, and it separates out, see how easy the debugging was. If earlier what you need to do is go through the entire architecture, but all you need to do for debugging is go through the init part of the definition of the model definition, and then get the corresponding output. So I'll not mess around much with this. Messing around should be handed over to you in the programming assignment or whatever it is. But this is what we wanted to achieve. Like, all right, let's see how good it is. You see, just after defining, we are able to see bash normalization layer added. If I do verbose equals to false, still bash normalization layer would be added, but I won't be able to see. All right. So if there's a batch normalization layer, we'll be able to obtain that this is the batch normalization layer which has been added. And if the batch normalization layer, which let's say bn equal to false, has been passed over here as a parameter, so what we will be able to see, batch normalization layer not added. This is what we expect to see. Are we able to obtain the same output? That we'll be only able to check out once we try to obtain the outputs. So let's try and check if we are able to obtain the outputs. If batch verbose equal to false, we should not expect to obtain any outputs. So what we should do is, let's say verbose equals to true, bash normalization equals to true. If bash normalization equal to true, we have bash normalization layer added, And if we have batch normalization as false, we have batch normalization not added. And this is what exactly this is. Now you have this model is exactly like your normal model, which would behave like a normal model. So you have done the forward propagation. You can define the predict function as well. So there are many parameters you can define. So let's see what all you can do as a customization. You can make your own custom definitions as well. So let's say define, train on 100 epochs, anything. Just define ensemble predictions, anything. Just entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. So this part is, I think, done. So let's move on to something more better and interesting. So what we have over here, we are done with this part. Now putting it all together, an end-to-end example, a layer, this. So what are the parameters we can have in TF-Keras model? All the functions which you can define. So we have done with the init, we are done with the call. So this is also another beautiful example. Let's say if training is there, training is true, then have the dropout layers, else don't have that. You are able to control the behavior or the way the forward pass is going to happen, right? Now, another thing, let's see if we can able to find more things. So what are the methods we have? Call, yes, we discussed call. We have compile, yes, we discussed compile. We have evaluate, yeah, this is one interesting parameter to discuss, evaluate. So you can have over here, definition, evaluate, and talk about how the evaluation will happen. Model.fit. Now model.fit is the predefined model.fit happening. So if you want to do model.fit by passing in the data, model.fit would happen the way it happens for your TensorFlow models, the Keras thing. But if you want to have a custom model layer, if you have a custom training, what you're gonna do is this is what a custom training looks like. So you define the model, you are defining the loss metrics, getting the data set, doing for 2 epochs, gradient, within the gradient tape, you are obtaining the loss, passing the optimizers, this. However, this entire thing, what they did over here can be fitted and be added inside the model.fit. So within the model.fit, what you're going to do is definition fit self and define the custom training loop. So this is something we are looking forward in the upcoming sessions, how to do a custom model.fit in model subclassing. And that is something that would be quite interesting to learn and see, right? You can also have a functional approach. So let's say you defined your model. Yeah, so this is all about this. This is all about how you can define the custom models. Now let's move on to one more interesting topic, how to define custom layers using TF-Keras. Alright, let's get on to this and get it done. And yeah. So let us continue with our discussion. We were discussing how you can make custom layers in TensorFlow Keras. So this is what the discussion would be about. So let's get started. So what I'll try to do is replicate dense layers of how a dense layer can be implemented. Any layer can be implemented which is not there in the TensorFlow TF-Keras layers. So if anything which is not there predefined, you can implement. If you want any modification or customization to what already is there or what already is defined, you can customize and redefine it. But Yeah, so let's learn how to get it done. Yeah, this is quite interesting. This is quite interesting. So let's start. Let's say class, let's define a class which would be my custom layer, and within it, it is Keras layers dot layer. Now, it requires three things. First is init, second is build, third is call. Init, you define the layer parameters. Build, you build a layer. To build a layer, you require two things. One is kernel and other is bias. Bias is optional, but you need a kernel to build a layer or whatever you're trying to build. But we are trying to build a dense layer, so for dense layer we need a kernel, and that's what it would be. So build is what all are the fundamental units that define the layer. And once you're done with defining the fundamental units of a layer, you can proceed forward to the call utility. And in call utility, you define how the operations would happen between how the input is processed by the parameters which were defined in the build. I hope it's quite clear. So it's slightly different from model, but it's quite understandable. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Self, and I'll have parameters as units, would be like, let's say 128 dense units, and initializer equals what are the initial, let it be. So let's say initializer. So this is how. So let's say we have defined the units. Okay, you can define activation. You can add multiple parameters depending on how the customization you want. So let's say activation equals relu. So yeah, let's get started. You can add name. If there's any name, you can add name. So first is units, that gets added over here. Second is activation, that also gets added over here. You can add an initializer. So let's see what kind of initializers are there. Layers initializers. Random normal we have random uniform, we have truncated normal, we have zeros, we have ones, we have Claude normal, we have Claude uniform, HE normal. Let's use HE normal. Let's use HE normal. Okay. This is what we will be using. So let's close this, and so let's add another utility to it, which is initializer. I think this is good enough. So let's proceed to the build utility. Here I would require input shape to build, and in the call I would require input tensor vector, whatever you want to call it, just call it. Yep. So let's start with call first. Build is a bit complicated, and let's not waste our energy in understanding what build is, but let's keep the flow, let's not destroy the momentum, and let's get started with how to get the call thing done. So in the call, what you want to do is define how the forward pass is going to happen. So this is extremely fundamental, how the forward pass happens in dense units. How the forward pass happen in dense unit is a matrix multiplication, simple matrix multiplication. Result is equal to tf dot matrix multiplication of what? Of the input tensor and the kernel, which is the weights. If there is any bias unit added, so that can also be added. If you have activation defined, then I will do this. and whatever it is, result will be returned back. This is the simple forward pass. So very simple to understand. The matrix multiplication wx plus b, this is nothing but wx plus b vector operation. If any activation, so what is this? This is sigmoid activation wx plus b. As simple as that, nothing complicated, very extremely simple. Here we need two things, a kernel and a bias vector. These are both obtained using add weights. Understandable, you define this with the help of add weights. Now in add weights, what you need to do first is define the shape. In shape it would be a tuple where in the first would be, you need the multiplication to happen. First vector is input tensor, so I would take the input tensors or the input shapes last dimension and get it multiplied with the first dimension of weights, so that the matrix multiplication is successful. Proceeding forward, I also need an initializer, which would be my self.initializer. Do I need anything else? No, I don't think so. I need anything else. I can define a name, I cannot define a name, that's up to me. Yeah, I have another parameter which is trainable. So it's up to you to define any trainable equal to true, trainable equal to false. This is a custom utility which we'll be getting to at a later stage of the discussion, but just understand and try to just see and observe how I'm trying to replicate and implement the custom layer. So this is how you actually want to build, you actually want to develop a custom layer, a TensorFlow custom layer. So this is how you're going to do. Now weights is a simple addition, so you will have a single unit which would be units and a comma, a mandatory comma. The reason being it's a tuple and that is not a singular scalar unit that is being multiplied, so that is needed to be in a batch so that the operation is successful. You can add initializers, you can add trainable parameter, and I hope that the model is custom layer has been obtained. If the custom layer has been obtained, I can obtain my custom layer like this with all the predefined layer or values. Okay. Let's keep it aside for a second. Okay, something which we didn't do is super custom layer self. Now I think we're good to go. So these are the things which you are still able to have. You can see activity, like you can add loss, metric, update variable, do many things. And what we are trying to obtain is from configuration and get configuration. So let's try to obtain get configuration. What is it? Okay, so get configuration is not, we need to redefine, we need to override get configuration so as to obtain it. So what we're about to do is, let's obtain the parameters of layer dot weights. layer dot Alright, we did something wrong over here. There's nothing like add weights. It is add weight. That is why we were having trouble. Name units is not defined. Units is not defined. Okay, it is self dot units. Self dot units. So what we are trying to do is we'll define a random uniform initializer and pass it through our layer. So this is our weights matrix. This is our bias. This is our bias variable. This is our weights. And this is a normal implementation. Now what happens is, let's say during training, how does it happen? So during training, let's say you want a dropout to happen. So let's say you can add a parameter over here. So let's say within training equal to false. But if training is there, then you want to do is result equals to tf dot dropout and add that particular layer. So add result. You get the point. Yeah, you get the point. So this is another modification which you can do. You can take it as a base layer. Add multiple layers on top of it. So what you're gonna do is you can do like class nested layers, which would be again a inheritance of layers dot layer, wherein everything would remain as it was before. The only difference would be you can define multiple. So this is one kind of layer. You can define custom layer 1. So let's say def unit 1, def self layer 1 equal to custom layer 1. Self layer 2 is a custom layer 2, and so on. So this is how it happens. Definition build, definition call, and this is how the things happen, right? Now what's interesting is you're able to define the layers which are actually not present in the TensorFlow official repo. So if you want to implement something which is not there in the official repo but is needed for your project or is needed for an experiment, this is how you can obtain. Either just inherit the base layer and start working on top of it. 3 steps. First is init, second is build, third is call. Now the part comes is how do you, okay, let's say you made a layer and you want to save the configurations, right? That is extremely needed. So how do you serialize? To serialize, what we do is we define another function over here, another utility over here, and which is nothing but def get config. In definition get config, you define that when the function is called, when the method is called get config, how the so you will be able to obtain the configuration file, and once you are able to obtain the configurations of the layer, and you can save that at a place at any later point of time. All you need to do is call a layer and define any layer and just define tf keras layers. So at a future stage you need not to define this entire class. What you would need to do is layer equal to tf keras layers.layer, and then layer dot from config, and you define the config. So as simple as that. So why to this is the idea of object oriented programming, or what do you know say as reusability. To you actually utilize reusability. This is what we are about. So it depends on how you want to define the configuration. So first step 1, get the configuration from the base layer. Once you get the configuration from the base layer, step 2 is extremely simple. Make a dictionary of what all you want to save and update. Return the dictionary. So it would be config equals to super the layer's name, custom layer dot get config. So you're calling the base layer and you're getting the get config function from there. You stored it over here. Now what you want to do is dot update the dictionary by saying that units were this, initializer was this, and now you want to return the configuration. Okay, so you see like units were self dot units, initializer was self dot initializer, and this is my new layer. This is how my new layer is. So the def config is, so we are having trouble with the indentation. I hope this is correct, and if that was correct, then what we are to do is layer is defined over here, layer dot weights, layer dot yeah, obviously. So this is an error we were stuck to. So this is obviously tf keras activations. This is the bias, and then we have layer dot get config. Super object has no attribute get config. Wow. No, truly wow. Why? Because we try to do something like this, but as per, we forgot to define self over here. So once we define the self over here, I think my layer should behave and work properly as expected, and it is working as properly. We have not reached over there. Let's hope that it is working as expected, and it's working as expected. So this is how it should be. We have obtained the configuration. Now what I want to do is make my layer 1, which is a replication of it. So what I will be doing is layers.layer. Now layer 1 would be from config, from layer dot get config. Keyword argument not understood, units. Yeah, so not exactly like this. Custom layer, and there you go, right? I think this was clear. I hope this was extremely clear. So we learned many things in layer. So first thing we learned is the layer. There are 3-step process compared to the model. Layer is a bit more complex to implement. First is you define what are the parameters which are needed for the layer. Second, you build a layer based on the parameters. Third is you forward pass. So in these 3 things, what happens is the build part is something which you need to take care of, build and get config. So if you want to serialize, if you want to obtain the layer the way it is at the present moment and you want to utilize it, then you need get config. In build, you do add weight, define the parameters and everything, and you add a weight. In call is a simple forward pass. You can modify and customize every step. You can define which part of the layer, which kernel do you want to be trainable, which kernel do you want not to be non-trainable. It's not limited to 2 kernels. You can have multiple kernels. Let's say z equals to self dot add weight. It's ultimately upon you how you want to define. So we can also implement a convolution 2-dimensional. We can implement different layers. It's ultimately up to you how you want to utilize the things and how you actually want to get your things done. Now let's proceed to implementing our custom loss functions. Now we have headed to the final and the last part of the video. This is about how you can implement a custom loss functions, and this is extremely used, and this is relatively the easiest part of all we discussed today. We discussed about models, we discussed about layers, and we are discussing about loss functions. So compared to all, loss functions is easy to implement and it's widely used. So because there are multiple kinds of loss functions, and there are multiple types and there are different utilities which are being implemented and used for your model training. So especially if it's the case of unit architecture, segmentation, or there you use something IOU loss, dice coefficient. If it is a Siamese net, you will be using contrastive loss, which is not there, which is there in TensorFlow add-ons. But people usually like to implement their own version of loss functions. So people preferably implement their own version of loss functions. This is one thing. Now what happens is, so be it a case of generative adversarial networks. In generative adversarial networks, there also people implement their own custom loss functions. So let's understand how you can simply build your own custom loss function. So there are 2 methods. Either you can use a functional approach, use a model definition, loss definition, make it a function, or you can define it a class. So in class, what it would be a custom loss which inherits from tf keras loss sys dot loss definition init and definition call forward pass. And a simpler version would be a functional approach. So let's say I want to implement mean square. mean square loss. So what I would have is y predictions, y true. Result would be equal to tf dot square. Tf square would be equal to y pred minus y true, and I would return tf dot reduce mean of result with axis equals to -1. This is a simple mean square loss implementation. Had it to be replicated for class utility, what we would do is ypred y true self dot ypred equals to ypred self dot y true equals to y true. In the forward pass, I would define how the model should, the loss function should act. So this is a mean square error. Here is a forward pass of it. Simple, extremely simple. So just try to implement this is what it would be. So loss 1 equals custom loss. I can define my ypred as 0, 1, 1, my y true as 1, 0, 1. Do we have any good example of this? I think. How do we get it done? Yep, so this is how it is. You're able to see this is how it is. So you define the TensorFlow once and TensorFlow 0. Obviously, the loss would be complete 1. Yeah, so yeah, that's what it is. This is extremely simple. This is extremely straightforward and easy to implement. So our key takeaways from today's discussion was how to implement a custom model, how to implement a custom layer. You can have nested layer, you can have different behavior as per the training, as per as evaluation. There are multiple methods in model as well. You can have get config for layers. Loss is extremely simple to implement. All you need to know is the calculation method, how you want to calculate the loss metric. So once you are able to understand how you're able to calculate the loss metric, it would be extremely easy to implement. You can implement in the function approach, you can implement in the object oriented approach, and no matter what it is, you should be good to go. And that is a wrap up. So let's wrap it up over here, and this wait for the next session. In our next session, we'll have more interesting topics to discuss. Till then, take care and make sure you hit the subscribe button, and do check out the website, become a member of the Slack community, and take care. Bye bye.